Hi, Claudiana. Welcome, welcome. All right, ladies, we'll go ahead and get started. I know some people will still be coming in, but we'll be just doing some housekeeping, I guess, in the beginning. So welcome back to the BIC Africa Acceleration Program for Female Entrepreneurs 2025. We're super happy to be here again with you this week. We are going to be doing our third training session today, and we are welcomed by our new, well, she's not new, she's been in the program, all of them, I believe, right, Christelle? So Christelle is an expert at BIC Africa, but also your expert trainer for today. And I'll allow her to introduce herself in just a few minutes. But we are super happy to have you here today with us for today's session, which is going to be around the how of your business. So designing your business model for scalability. Christelle has a super intense, not intense, it's kind of intense, an intense session for you today to really work through the different pieces of your business model so that you can really grow and get to the vision that you've set for yourself over the course of these last few weeks. But before we get into today's session, there's two things that we're going to do. The first is that I just want to give a brief announcement on behalf of Christina and the BIC Africa team about those of you ladies who have applied for mentoring. So 15 of you submitted your motivation letter expressing interest in mentoring, and we are happy to say that all 15 of you have been selected to be matched with an expert mentor. So next week you will receive communication from Christina and the team letting you know who exactly you've been paired up with and making that formal introduction so that you can move forward with that mentoring relationship. So we wish you all the best with that connection. Really utilize that woman as much as you possibly can to support you in your business over the next 2 months. So congratulations. We were really inspired by the motivation letters that you all put the time and effort into sending through to us. So excited to see where that goes for you. The next thing that we're going to do before we get into the proper meat of today's session is just give you some feedback on the homework. So you will have seen in the WhatsApp that I randomly used that little wheel again, and the two women that were selected for feedback are Claudiana and Joyce. Claudiana, I'm going to start with you because what I did is I sent your work to Yana, and Yana has provided me with feedback for you. So I'm going to just read out what she's written for you. Give me a second because I have a million screens on my computer. All right, so let me actually pull up your workbook also so that we can just look at it together. Again, I have a million screens and I don't know where everything is. Let me try to hide some of these things. All right, here's Claudiana's section 2. All right. So what Yana has said about this persona, so your ideal customer is a man called Patrick Munganga, and these are the details that you've shared about him. So what she said is that the persona is clear, specific, and realistic, and she really likes that. It's easy to put yourself into this person's shoes because you've really outlined like what are their goals and dreams, what are their challenges and frustrations, and other details that just make it very easy to be relevant. What she suggests for a little bit of room for improvement is that the goal could be expanded a little bit beyond streaming workflows. So you have here that what are their goals or dreams? Streamline their paper-based workflows. So for example, consider adding in like, why does Patrick want this? Like, why does he want everything to be streamlined? Is it to reduce his stress? Is it to increase his productivity? Is it to make a greater impact? Really go into the drivers behind that goal and those dreams. But otherwise, she was very happy with this. I don't have anything additional to add because I do feel like you identify this person very clearly and who they are and where they are and what they're doing for their work. It's just this thing about goals and dreams. Go into it in a little bit more detail. And that applies to all of you ladies. If you have one that's similar that you just put down their goals or dreams, try to dig into it a little bit further where you're just really going into what is the why behind those goals and dreams? Why is this something that they desire? All right, then she moves on to the value proposition canvas, which is here. She also shares that this is very detailed and well written. She likes that you've added in emotional jobs as well. So emotional jobs are the ones like, let me pull them out, like keeping team members coordinated on time, right? Presenting a professional image to attract partners, donors, and customers. So these are important to mention, not just like the physical jobs that somebody is doing, like organizing and managing workflows. Or you also have communicate effectively with your audience, which is an emotional job. She mentions that the pains are realistic and relatable, and the gains are very clear. What she has mentioned, though, in terms of room for improvement is that in pains, you could even highlight specific emotional consequences. So, for example, maybe some of the pains are that Patrick is feeling overwhelmed. Patrick is feeling left behind in a fast moving world. Patrick is feeling like he can't keep up with digital technology and how fast everything is moving. And talk a little bit more about those emotional states too, and not just the physical stuff. All right, then moving on to the products one. She says this is good, again, very clear, specific, and customer focused. What she suggests is considering adding a small, low risk offer to help Patrick get started. So, for example, maybe you have like a free 30-minute consultation where you can highlight some of the things that you can do for him. Maybe you even have a starter package that lets him get started with what you're offering, but without the big commitment of having to go like to a full end-to-end solution. And consider like what is a way that you can just get this person to taste what it is that you offer without one giving too much commitment to you, and also not, of course, doing it at such a low cost that, or not doing it at such a low cost that it fixes all of his problems and then he doesn't invest in you further. And then finally, on your unique value proposition in one sentence. So you say, we help mission-driven businesses who struggle with manual processes, lack of visibility, and tech overwhelm by providing affordable, easy-to-use digital solutions so they can focus on impact, save time, and grow with confidence. I think this is great. She also thinks that this is great. The only suggestion that we both have is maybe just try to shorten it a little bit to make it flow even better. So here's a suggestion that she mentions. And I'll even pop this into the chat, but I'll read it out. Okay, so what she suggests is we help mission-driven businesses struggling with manual processes and digital overwhelm by providing affordable, easy-to-use solutions so they can save time, grow their impact, and lead with confidence. So it's very similar to what you've written. I think she's just kind of reworded the order of things and just simplified it a little bit. But otherwise, this UVP is great. My suggestion also, and we'll cover this later when we go into like storytelling and how we talk about our businesses in different settings, is writing it out is fine if you have like this longer version, but when you're speaking it aloud, almost like an elevator pitch, you might want to consider how to shorten it a little bit so that one, it rolls off your tongue a little bit easier, and two, you don't get lost in all of the words. Because if you read this out verbally, this is unlikely how you would be talking about your business vocally, right? You just try to find out like a shorter way to say it when you say it out loud rather than just someone reading it. But otherwise, really great. Let me know if you have questions. You can jump off mute if you want to ask anything more about this. Okay, Claudiana, you're good? Okay, perfect. All right, great. So now let me go on to Joyce, but Joyce actually isn't here. And Joyce also forgot to share the link to her workbook. So I can't actually give Joyce any feedback yet on her content, but hopefully she'll share that in the WhatsApp group later today and I can do that. But Joyce did have a question that is relevant for all of you. So she asks, what are some effective ways to discover what customers truly value, especially when feedback is limited? Okay, so feedback is super, super important in your business, and it doesn't have to be a lot of feedback. You can even just talk to a few real people, like 3 people or 5 people. You don't need a big survey, and you don't need to do like professional market research or get everybody into a room or like really feel like you have to spend money on this process, but really try to talk to your customers as much as you possibly can, or your potential customers, and you ask them like some very open questions. So what I mean by open questions is that they can't just answer yes or no to them. They have to elaborate a little bit more, because if you just ask yes or no, then they can just shut it down. What you want them to do is actually talk and share what their issues are. So the questions that Yana recommends is, what is the hardest part of your day? What is frustrating you right now? How do you currently solve this? And what this will have you do is really dig into the mind of your potential customer a lot more and understand like what is causing them pain? What is it that's bothering them? What are ways that they're currently trying to fix things? And maybe that fix is not the best thing for them. Maybe there's another alternative, and that's where your business can come in. And the thing is like people really love talking about their problems. They want to be able to share what's going on for them, but they just need permission. They need someone to ask them that question so that they feel comfortable opening up. Another thing that you can do is you can use your network. So it's amazing how many people in your direct environment already know someone who knows your ideal customer. So you can ask family, friends, and colleagues, and don't ask them those open questions, but ask them, hey, who do you know who fits this persona of my ideal customer? So going back to Claudiana, who do you know who's like Patrick? Who is working in an NGO? Who is working in a mission-driven business and is overwhelmed by paperwork? And then immediately your network might be like, this person, this person, this person, and connect you with your ideal customer. Your goal when you're getting feedback isn't to try to sell them anything. It's genuinely just to understand exactly what is going on for them in their world. You can also watch behavior. So what are they already paying for or struggling with? And that can give you some valuable clues. And then you can also test small. So you can share a simple idea, a sketch, or a quick description and walk a person through what you're thinking and see how they really react. Like, are they curious? Are they interested? Are they very dismissive? And that will give you a sign whether you're on the right track or not on the right track. There's also a really interesting book. It's called The Mom Test. I'll share the link with you once I hand over to Christelle. I'll pull it up for you, but it's called The Mom Test. And what the Mom Test does is it teaches you a way to talk to your customers or your potential customers and really get their feedback without trying to sell them. And the idea is like, if you go to your mom or your dad and you tell them what it is that you're doing in business, they're going to be like, yeah, honey, that's great. Like, well, maybe they won't be. Maybe they're not as encouraging, but if they're encouraging you, they're most likely to say, yeah, that's an awesome idea. And they won't poke any holes in it and they won't ask you any questions about it. And they'll make you feel that it's the best thing since sliced bread, even if it isn't. So this book teaches you a different way to have conversations with people so that you're not just, getting them to say yes when what you really want is them to share some objections and share their pain points. So I'll share that with you in the chat. All right, so I am now going to hand over to Christelle. Let me stop sharing to go ahead and introduce herself and then to take us into today's content.
Yes.
Over to you.
So thank you, Danielle, and thank you for the ABN team and all the wonderful women who are with us today. It's my pleasure to be on the 3rd year actually on the program, and every time I interact and meet new women entrepreneurs from Africa, I'm really impressed by what you do and the impact you create on your communities. So my name is Christelle Khalil. I'm from Lebanon. And basically, I work in one of the largest incubators and business development centers in the region. It's called BIC. I'm the head of programs related to entrepreneurship and innovation support. On the personal level, I have strong expertise mainly in social and green economy support, so supporting businesses, and a lot of them are women-led and youth-led, that create basically impact. So this is dear to my heart, and I have this mentor and slash coach hat as well, and I'm happy to contribute to the program today. We are going to mainly focus on the business model, the how. So you've been exposed with my colleague Yana before and Danielle about the why, the mission, the vision of your venture, why you're doing it, what is the ultimate goal and impact that you want to create. You went into the basically the value propositions, getting also more in-depth understanding of your customers and linking the value proposition to your customers. So today we are going to talk about a very nice and efficient tool in business, in entrepreneurship, which is the business model Canva, that will show you in one sheet, in one, if you want, sheet, all the business elements and all the business questions that you need to answer to have a value proposition, a solid business, a viable business, that one is making a profit and sustaining, and also is creating impact within your communities. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Just 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, okay, let's start. So, we added the name scalability. So it's very important to think of the how of your business. So how will I design my business in a way that is useful for me to start my venture, but also to think and reflect on how can I grow my venture. So to be able to visualize my project in 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and to reflect from now on how will I expand my business, how will I expand my impact and sustain the activities that I'm doing. So this is the essence of the business model. So by the end of today's session, basically you will be able to understand how your business operates using the business model Canva, which is a very important tool in entrepreneurship, with a clear understanding of how your value proposition that you already defined will create that relationship with your customer in a way that to gain the customer, but also to keep them and to retain them. We will also reflect on the product market fit. So make a relationship between what the organization is offering and what the market is basically demanding, and how will I effectively implement my activities and deliver them to my customers. We will also you will have a much more in-depth session about financials, because it's necessary in any business. But we will dive a bit into looking at how do we balance between revenue stream and cost structure. So how this fits within the business model Canva as essential component in the model. Also, we are going to look at the organization side of things. So ask ourselves, what does it take to deliver this value proposition to my customers? What are the essential activities, resources, and partnership that I need as an entrepreneur within my organization to be able to operate my business successfully and sustain it, the most important part. Lastly, to be able also to map our channels and relationships with the customers. So it's very important to reach our customers, but also to engage with them and retain them. So we are going to see how we can do that, reflect on some examples as well, and give you some space to work on your own business model Canva. I just wanted to highlight that you already have, related to my session, in the workbook that you have access to, you already have the business model Canva that you have to fill in based on the slides that will be shared with you by the end of the session. But during the session, I'm going to ask questions, okay, following the flow of the business model. I will invite you to reflect on it and to work on it and to type your answers for the ones who like to share in the chat box, so I can give some feedback. And you can use those answers later on to feed into the workbook and complete the exercise related to today's session. So it's very simple, the business model. It's how does your business work? How does it operate? So as a definition, okay, it's basically providing a plan that describes how a company will make money. So it's very important to ask ourselves, okay, how this amazing product or service that we want to create and make a business out of, how will it eventually make money in the market and sustain our business accordingly? So it describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and capture value. So it's always about, like you saw in the previous session, creating value and added value. This is why we call it value proposition, because if you are not really solving an important problem to the customer, adding value to their life and creating a change, creating a strong impact, okay, so we wouldn't talk about an added value. So you have to create something, create an added value, deliver it by focusing on how will you basically go to market and reach your customer, and capture value, which is this, what was also mentioned in the feedback questions with Daniel. So it's always important to capture the feedback, the value of your customers, and retain them. So to be to simplify the model, so there's the organization, which is your business, okay? And we have our customers in the market. We are offering product or service, and through the customers who are paying for our products, we are generating revenue. So this is where we create the product or the service, we deliver it to the customer, and we capture the revenue, and we retain our customers accordingly. This is how, to simplify how a business model functions, basically. Why is it important? One, it helps us understand how are we basically creating a competitive edge? What makes us different? What is the solution and why is it unique? It helps us understand how we are functioning, so we are always ahead of the curve and able to adapt to the market, to ask ourselves, who are the new partners I need? How can I optimize my resources? How can I target more efficiently my customers and retain them? And how am I generating revenue and optimizing my cost? Also, it helps assess the risks and the resources I need to be able to manage according to any change I face. Some examples of basically how, when we say business model, which describes how we make money. So a restaurant, simple restaurant, how do they make money? They simply sell food and offer services. Facebook, they sell advertising space. LinkedIn, they makes customers loyal by offering, let's say, first free subscription, but then more advanced featured with a premium plan. Apple sells product directly from the Apple Store. A gym requires monthly payment to access services and facilities. So these are some quick examples, but we are going to see much more developed ones, just to give you some very simple ways to explain how a business makes money. So this is the basic question. You can have the most amazing idea or product or service, but you are not able to identify who is the customer that will pay for it. In that case, you cannot create a business. So the magical formula that really links what you're offering with the customer that is willing to pay for it and answering the question of how am I generating money, this is the most essential question to start with, whether you are starting a business or even growing a business. It's always good to reflect on how we will make money. And sometimes we have we have one or more than one way to make money. So we call it multiple revenue streams. And we will see also examples about that. So I love this code. I shared it last year, basically just to make you understand that startups do not really fail because of their, of course you have to have a good product or service, but you can adjust this along the way, but you mainly fail because you are not making money and because you are not having the right customer reach and who are able basically to generate profit for you. So this is where the business model comes in. This is a very well-known simple video just to show you a bit what is a business model. Just take Can you hear it?
An organization's business model can be described as 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
So, okay, back to me now. So this is a quick video that basically shows the whole concept of the business model Canva, and we are going to flow over the 9 blocks today, giving you some space to reflect on your own businesses and answer also within the time that allows. So I will go back to one point that we already reflected on in the previous 2 sessions, okay, because this is the most important part. So a business starts by understanding what problem are you trying to solve, okay? So going back to your value propositions, okay, it's essence to build when we build a business model to reflect again, and this is a way also that you can use to improve your value propositions along the way with this program. So go back always to what is the exact problem that I am trying to solve, and try to describe this problem as very specific to be able to understand what are you exactly, how are you going to solve it. Okay, so this is the first question. Then we need to ask ourselves, who is mostly affected by this problem? So who is facing this problem? And this will give us a good reflection about our customers. And I'm going to show you an example on that. Then we go back to our solution and make sure that it is unique in the market compared to existing competitors, and it's really adding value to our customers. Like if my customer is using or adopting my product or service, how am I changing their lives? Why should they come to me and not to someone else? How am I adding value to basically their experience? And this is how you reflected with my colleague last time about diving deeper into the pain and the gain of the customers, and based on it, you've developed your basically customer persona. To give you an example, so I believe a lot of us are pretty much familiar with Airbnb, okay, which their slogan is, it's always good to see the slogan of a company, which is we imagine a world where you can belong anywhere, because always companies develop their slogan based on their value proposition. This is the one statement, the one promise a brand makes to their customers. Like if I look at Airbnb, what is the promise that Airbnb is giving me? Basically, an access anywhere I go to safe and flexible lodging at an affordable price. So if we go to the model of Airbnb and to give you an example of those three questions, how do they apply to Airbnb? And I invite you to reflect in the same approach on the level of your own businesses, okay? So if we look at Airbnb, what is the problem that they are trying to solve basically? The way they define it is that travelers often struggle to find affordable, unique, and local accommodation options, while homeowner may have unused space that they can monetize. So here, if I look at basically the problem they are trying to solve, they are looking at two segments. People who are traveling and they want access to lodging, which is nearby their destination and at affordable price. And there are house owners, okay, looking to basically looking to have mainly unused spaces that they can rent and make money out of. This is how they have built this platform that connects those two parties and are making money out of it. So this is the essence of the problem they are trying to solve. Now, the second question, who is affected by this problem? Okay, because this question helps you reflect about your customers and helps you dive deeper into the persona of your customers. Okay, so who really suffer from this problem? Who has that pain that I want to solve? So to go back to the Airbnb case, who is affected by this problem is mainly the budget-conscious travelers looking for alternatives to hotels. So as you can see, the importance of the persona and giving characteristics and being very specific with my customers. It's not only saying I am targeting all the travelers around the world. No, I'm targeting the travelers that have a limited budget for lodging, looking for alternatives to hotels, and individuals or families with extra spaces to rent. So this is very specific and gives us an idea of who is mainly in need of my solution and who is mainly affected by the problem. The third question, looking at this connection of the problem and the people affected by the problem, what makes my solution unique or different in the market? Going back to Airbnb, this is the way they describe their solution and what makes it unique. So Airbnb connects people directly through their platform, of course, offering diverse, localized lodging experiences around the world, often at lower cost than traditional hotels through a trusted peer-to-peer platform. So in this value proposition, you can see the how they are solving and you can see why is it unique. So the how is basically the peer-to-peer platform offering that space to connect directly between householder and travelers, okay? And if we go back to the concept of the value proposition, why Airbnb is unique versus the hotel or similar solutions, okay? Because it connects directly both parties with localized access to local lodging experiences, lower cost, okay, and trusted peer-to-peer platform. This is very important because at the end, house owner, they are giving their house, they are sharing their house with strangers. So they have offered this platform to really build trust by collecting the reviews, having criteria to their members, making sure it is a safe space, access to a safe space as well. So this is just to give you an example about a problem, who is affected by it, and how am I solving the problem while adding value to my customers. Now about the Canva. So we have 4 areas that we are going to look at on the business model Canva. There is always the middle part of the Canva, and we are going to see it in a few seconds, which tackles basically what am I offering? Okay, so this is the question that it's essence to reflect based on what I'm doing in business, what am I really offering? On the right side of the Canva, we address the market side of the business, okay? So we go into the who, the customers, who desires, who really want my customers, my product or service, and how am I generating revenue coming from my customers or coming from the market, okay? So the bottom part of the Canva addresses the viability of my model because it should balance between my budget, my cost, and my revenue in a way that I'm generating profit. So I don't have only to cover my cost, but also I have to have a profit margin. So it really shows the viability of my business. Now, the left side of my Canva addresses basically. So someone has to mute their mic. So basically, the left side of the Canva addresses the how. It's related to the organization, to the internal work that you do related to your business, to ask yourself, how am I delivering the product or service? What does it take to produce it, to market it, to distribute it? What resources I need? Who are the partners that will help me? Okay, so looking at those 4 areas, here is the business model Canva basically. So I go back to the value proposition, which is the core of the business model Canva, which addresses the what. We go back also to reflect on the right side of the Canva, which addresses the market side of my business, covering the customer segments, the relationships with the customers, and the channel that I will use to deliver my product to the customers. At the bottom, it's the viability part, which reflects about how will I generate revenue, how my customers will pay, and how will I collect basically my profit and my sales. And on the left side of my Canva, we go over the organization's activities, the key activities needed to produce, distribute, market, retain my customer, and maintain all my operations, the key resources needed, the key partners, and based on the above, we will assess the cost structure. It's very important here to reflect on how can I optimize my cost and how can I leverage on existing resources to minimize my cost and increase my revenue. Okay, so we will start with the customer segment, okay, which is this block. So what we are going to do today in this session, we are going to have an overview, holistic overview about the 9 blocks of the Canva. And at the end of the sessions, if you fill in the Canva and develop it further on your workbook, you will be able to explain your business or what you do in a very viable way, showing all the pieces that you need to run and operate and sustain your business, okay? So going back to customer segments, I will not dive a lot into this because I believe you already went through it in the last session, but I want you to reflect on it in a simple way today and try to define it. So you've dived into the persona. Now we need to mainly think of this persona and frame it as a segment. So this persona represents this customer segment and be able to explain who am I targeting. This, you can have one customer segment or you can have more than one, 2, or 3 customer segments in your business. So customer segments refer to a specific group of people or organization that your enterprise is trying to reach and serve. So it's who am I offering my product or services to, okay? And this can be a business, so it's a business-to-business model, or it can be a direct customer, which will be the business-to-customer model. We need to focus to go back to the previous question that I raised and reflect on who mainly is affected by the problem that I'm trying to solve and try to describe this segment as my customer segment. We need to consider their profiles, their values, and their lifestyle. So here you go back to the persona and try to say, try to be very specific when you are describing your customer segment, because the more you understand their behavior and the more you are specific about them, okay, and the better you will be able to target them and engage with them and satisfy their needs, actually, because you will adapt your product and offering accordingly. So you have to ask yourself, based also on what was previously shared, what do they really like? Where do they like to buy? When do they need it? When are they using my product or service? Why they are buying it? And how much they are willing to pay? So those kind of questions will help you reflect on the profile of your customers, the value, the lifestyles, their habits, and this will be reflected again in your marketing strategy. We are going to touch upon this in the final session of this program, okay? to really make sure you are using the right channels to reach your customer as per their preferences that fits their lifestyle and habits and profiles. To give you an example, okay, so I found this example. I thought they described well their customer segments. So Africrea, so it's an African fashion and art global marketplace. So they basically sell through an online platform fashion and art products. It's a marketplace. The way they describe their customer segments, so they have three because it's a global platform. So obviously their customers are from different countries. They mainly focus on diaspora Africans wanting to reconnect with African heritage through fashion. So you see how specific this is. So basically, they are specifically targeting African people abroad in different countries, looking to reconnect with their culture through fashion. Okay, so you see how, so in their campaigns, they may show some African culture, values, to really touch upon their emotions and drive customers using this approach. The second target customer is, for example, the global fashion enthusiast interested in unique African designs and handmade goods. So they are targeting on the second level the people interested in fashion, okay, mainly in African designs and handmade products. Okay, so this is another segment that they are trying to target. The third segment is the African designers and artisans seeking global customers. So basically here they function like Airbnb model. They are connecting artisans and designers with customers. So from one side, they make money because of the sales to the customers who are diaspora Africans and global fashion enthusiasts. From the other sides, what they do is basically they take a fee from the designers wanting to have access to a marketplace, promote their products or artisans, and provide them a sales platform. And this is how they generate revenue. Okay, so this is an example to tell you how can we basically define our customer segments. And later on, when we build up the business plan and we dive deeper into the feasibility of the business, we work on basically putting percentages and targets for our target audience or target customers. So we need to be able to assess, if we talk about diaspora African, how many diaspora African I have and how much do I want to target. So putting numbers next to my customers is very important later on to be able to draft my strategy, my target accordingly, and be able to assess the profit, to project the profit that I want to do. So now it's your time. I will give you 1 minute, okay, to reflect about the personas that you drafted already, but try to basically try to type in the chat box, okay, who are your main customer segments? You may have one or two main ones, okay, and what are their key characteristics? So I invite you to actually think of it, type it again, and use your answers or any feedback that we could share with you to add it to the workbook at the end of the session. Okay, so there you go. So I didn't see anyone typing yet your customer segments. Who is interested to share with everyone? Okay. So we have one answer, which is basically main customers, fashionists who are sensitive about environmental impact of fashion. Second type of customer is B2B, the people who want to distribute the eco dresses, the eco dress and eco accessories, and who want to support ecology and social business. Okay, very nice. So it's basically addressing customers interested in fashion, but that are interested in reducing its negative impact on the environment. So eco-driven fashionista, from the one hand looking to sell, and from the one hand looking to buy. Maybe also you can, a small feedback, maybe you can add basically the kind of fashion they are looking for. Like, okay, eco-friendly, I understand, but what kind of fashion? Is it luxurious? Is it trendy? Is it so? If you can give a bit of criteria to be able to assess their preference towards your the dresses or accessories. So what type of accessories, and mainly from which countries or from which, so try to reflect on it. The second one is basically feed manufacturer, small scale food producers, small farmers, government and NGO. Maybe also on the government and NGO side, you can say interested or active in the agri-food sector. So giving, it's good that you have a good idea about the different segments, but giving a small criteria that really says I mean, if you say government and NGO, but what type of government and NGO? So it has to be related to the sector. Emerging entrepreneurs inspired to start farming by creating a niche market. And just to give some, to be able to read mainly the rest, my main target customer are the upstream, midstream, downstream companies in the oil and gas sector. I invite you to be a bit more specific so that people can understand really in the oil and gas sector. But when you say upstream, midstream, and downstream companies, dive a bit into their characteristics. The final one is workers, students, people who want healthy snacks and who want to use national products. For B2B, focus on stores, supermarkets that sells dry fruits, or also healthy basically snacks. The final one, international organization with a budget to outsource the organization of an event. I invite you to try to reframe a bit how you define the international organization as your client, okay, that are budget maybe conscious and that are interesting in event management, for example. Also NGOs with a clear sector. So one feedback, because I cannot read all of them, considering the time, but I'm happy to provide feedback following the sessions in collaboration with Danielle on your workbooks. One feedback that I want to say regarding the customers, it's always good to, especially when starting a business, to reflect about one or two main segments. I know you can target more, but it's good to reflect on one or two segments as a start, okay? And how you prioritize this is by reflecting on who needs the most urgently my product or service and willing to pay for it, and who will contribute the most to my margin of profit. Okay, and try to describe them in a simple way, but very concise and clear way. So using clear words, specific keywords to be able to assess, to be able to understand who are we talking about, and avoid generic words when describing them. So I will continue now to the second block of the business model Canva. So we start by asking who are our customers, okay? Once we reflect on it, we go back to our value proposition, because it's always essential to be driven by the customer first. He or she will be paying money for my products. Then I go back to my product or service to reflect, is it really matching the demand? Is it really adding value? And how can I describe it and how can I make it different? So the second block, we've done this one. Second one is value proposition, which is basically describing the products and the service that are creating value for my customer segment. Here we talk a lot about product market fit. So it's very important that my value proposition fits exactly the needs of my customers, okay? And it's very important to be able to describe it into one compelling sentence, okay? And reflect and add the keywords, reflect on why is it unique versus other players in the market, or how am I adding value? So when I focus on the problem, essential problem that I'm trying to solve, I go back to my persona, customer persona and customer segments. This is how it would be much easier for me to reflect on my value proposition and describe it in a way like Airbnb, showing really the added value that I'm offering and the benefits that my company is delivering to the market. To be specific, okay, so you have to put yourself in the head of the customers. So it's not how you see it, but it's how the customer sees it. And I go back also to the introduction of today's session, talking to about the feedback, which is essential because it's always important to hear it from the customer perspective and adapt it accordingly. The people using your business and buying your business. So you have to think about what is the solution I'm offering and what makes it unique, what are its key added value and its key unique benefits. And here you can reflect on the following criteria. These are some suggestions to reflect on. So what makes my solution, product or service different or unique? Is it low cost? Is it price advantage? Is it novelty, offering something new that someone else doesn't have? Is it the branding that I'm basically creating? Is it accessibility and convenience? Very easy to get it. Is it the design, the packaging? For example, when we talk about eco-friendly products, the packaging is very important because it reflects your promise to the environment and the image you want to project to your clients. Is it the customization, quality, performance, emotional connection to the feelings of the customer? So what is the experience that I'm creating? What are the criteria that I'm relying on to say really that I am unique in the market and different in the market, for example, from other platforms that offer eco-friendly fashion or arts products or food products? What makes me really different? Is it the quality of the product? Is it, for example, in food business, is it the taste? Is it the healthy component? Is it the affordable part? Is it the delivery part? The brand awareness and experience? So what makes me really unique? To dive into an example, also, I found this example of interesting product that it's shea radiance. I love shea butter. So how they explained basically their value proposition. So shea radiance provides natural, high quality beauty and skincare products made with ethically sourced shea butter from African women cooperatives, empowering women, nourishing skin, and celebrating African ingredients. So in this value proposition, it's not very short, I know, but it was comprehensive enough to see in it what is the company offering. Excuse me. What is the company offering? Basically, what makes unique this shea radiance, but also it shows who is it targeting, okay, and what is the impact that they are producing. So basically, they are showing that it's much more than a business. It's a business that is creating impact because it's creating jobs for women, right? It's encouraging African women cooperatives. Plus, it's a natural skincare product, so it's also compliant with the environment and it's healthy, and it provides beauty features with African ingredients based on shea. So I thought it was interesting example to share with you to help you reflect about your value proposition, how you can really show the power of your business, the change you're making, and what makes you unique in a clear and compelling way. And if we see basically the advertisement of it, also reflecting on the slogan that I was mentioning, which is the promise of the one sentence that shows the promise of the brand, okay, based on the value proposition. So it's hydrate, nourish, glow, starts with your face. So just to show you a kind of a marketing message that this brand is using for their products. And this is an example of basically a value proposition. Now I'm going to leave you with reflecting about what is your own value proposition, which you already did, and what makes it unique. But I will give less than a minute because I'm minding the time. So I invite you, if anyone wants to basically share it in the chat, one or two, we can take one or two examples. I can give you a few seconds for the value proposition. So one of them is we help small farmers and rural vendors who lose money from food spoilages by giving them affordable solar cold storage so they can keep food fresh and grow their income. I think it's interesting how you put it. Just a second. But you can replace some keywords like, for example, we help small farmers and rural vendors who lose money from food spoilage. For example, we help reduce food waste. You can say food waste by helping vendors, by giving them affordable solar cold storage, and increasing their profit margin, so grow their income. So it's already reflected. You can, instead of saying who lose money from food, so basically you can turn it into a positive statement by saying reduce food waste. So always try to use positive statements in your value proposition. Another one, we help fashionists to wear timeless fashion and accessories that are both environmentally responsible and socially empowering. By combining sustainable material with modern design, we offer stylish alternative for individuals, businesses who want to make a positive impact. Okay, I think it's interesting, but definitely you can shorten it. You can make it a bit shorter. The added value part are really clear in your proposition. Maybe add a keyword that really highlight the solution, the added value of it, but in a more concise sentence, but we clearly see who is also the customers behind your value proposition. So I invite you to write them down in your canvas, and we will select two next time to give feedback for related to basically the Canva. I will need to go on with my presentation. So now we reach the third block of the business model Canva. So we've answered the who are we targeting, the customer block. Then we went back into the what am I offering, which is the value proposition and what makes it unique. Now, a very important questions to ask: how will I deliver my product and service to the customer? How will I reach them? So where will they find me, right? So I want to offer my big product or service. I know who will be using it, but how am I delivering it to him or her? Okay, what are the channels? And here you go. So now we are on the third block, which links the value proposition and the customer segments by reflecting on the distribution channels, okay, to make your product or service accessible to those customers. Okay, so this is very important to reflect on, and this can be online or offline channels. So the channels part component describes how are you delivering your product or service to your customers, online or offline. And here you need to go back to the customer persona or the customer characteristics and ask yourself where they prefer to find your product or service, where they, what are their habits, where they can be reached. So you have to follow them to be able to deliver your product or service. And here we can use several channels, okay, such as, for example, direct sales, which is a sales team going and selling my customers, in-person meetings or phone calls or online engagements. We can leverage the marketing channels online, which is basically the social media, such as Instagram, specific channels to open pages, interact with my customer and promote my product. Tell them you can find it here and you can buy it, for example, by calling this number. So it's online. Indirect sales channels like the resellers or the point of sales that I'm going to choose to place my product in their shop, basically, and to make my product available at their shops. Online channels such as websites, e-commerce, mobile application, physical channels, the stores, the point of sale, the vending machines, the shops. So these are points for reflections, but of course it depends on any business and any customer segments. We go back to where is my customer available and where will he or she find my product or service to follow their lifestyle habits and their preferences and select the right channels to make my product or service available for them. To take an example, okay, so I found also this leading e-commerce company in Africa, Jumia. So it's an e-commerce company. So if we ask ourselves, what are the channels that Jumia is using to reach their customers and make their product or service available to their customers? They do it through an online platform, which is a website and a mobile application. It's basically used for browsing, purchasing, and ensuring a customer service. They do it via email and SMS marketing. So they send basically snapshot of their products via email or SMS and to also do the promotions and updates and drive customers through this channel to reach and buy the direct product. Social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to engage with the customers and promote and build brand awareness and drive the customers to the sales basically channels. They use also affiliate marketing and influencer, which is basically a network of people who have a wide audience of customers that looks like their customer segments and act as influencers to talk about their products and create that hype around their products and drive also customers to sales. They have a call centers and they have a delivery network and logistic partners. So these are examples of channels that a leading online e-commerce company is using to deliver the listed products on their platform to the end customers. Another example, BIC Africa. So it's basically organic beverages infused with African botanicals for health-conscious consumer. So this is their value proposition. As you can see always, in the value proposition, you see the what. So it's organic beverages infused with African botanicals, but also you can see the added value and the target customers, which is health-conscious consumers. So the way they basically deliver their products to the customer is by doing pop-up tasting stands in yoga studios and festival. And as you can see, they know exactly who they want, which is the health-conscious consumer. So interested in healthy activities, okay? So that's why they even choose where to do their pop-up stand, like in yoga studios and in yoga festivals, because they will find their customers there, because the people doing yoga or attending similar festivals, they are interested in healthy product and healthy lifestyle. So they do pop-up tasting stand to sell their product. They have an online subscription model for delivery using their platform. They collaborate with health bloggers. So as you can see, digital influencers or bloggers, this is something that really is a very nice channel to leverage on to basically push them to talk about your product, because they will drive a lot of customers or like-minded people to sales. QR codes also on bottles for storytelling about the ingredients, and boutique stores and eco grocery chains. So even they are picking eco grocery chains. This is to tell you how they are too much targeted with their approach and linking the delivery channels to their customers who are conscious and interested in a healthy lifestyle. Okay. So now we come to the fourth block, basically, of the customer of the business model Canva, which is reflecting about the customer relationships. Okay, so we have covered the who are we offering to. We went back to the what, to the value proposition. What am I suggesting? Okay, the channels. What are the channels that I'm going to use to deliver my product or service to the customers? Now the relationship, because as you can see in the definition that I showed you before, it's not about only what I'm selling, but it's how I am retaining my customer. And here I have to ask myself, what are the ways that I'm promoting to my customers, that I'm basically engaging with my customers, taking their feedback, maintaining a relationship with them, keeping the exchange, to not only sell them, get them as customer, but to retain them. And this is the most important part. So by covering the customer relations, we would have done basically the right side of the business, which is tackling the market side of things. Who am I offering to? What am I offering? And how am I doing it? So customer relationships, it describes the types of relationships a company establishes with specific customer segment, and how does the company interact with their customer? What's the relationship you have? How am I retaining it? How am I retaining them? How am I engaging with them? So how do we communicate, interact, engage, and build loyalty, which is the most important part, because every happy customer will bring you their circle of networks and similar customers, and this will support your marketing and sales efforts in a very efficient way. So in order to be able to answer those questions, communicate, interact, engage, and how am I building loyalty, you have to basically look at the touch point with your customers. So you have to list all the ways that basically you are using, okay, to interact with your customer. Is it through email, through a newsletter that I send them? Is it in the store, in the office, in the point of sale? Is it through phone calls? Is it using media and press coverage? The automated services. Now we see a lot of automation with AI. So the website, the events, the personnel working on the sales, the social media groups. So basically here I invite you to reflect about basically here to see what are you using to basically engage with your customers, and how you are optimizing the experience, like the way you write your email, or the way you do your social media campaigns, the content you use, the channel you use, the way you interact with them in the shop. So what is the experience you are giving to your customer? So this is what you need to reflect on. Okay, and to give you an example, for Wakanow Flight Booking, which is a online travel agency, the way they maintain relationship with their customers is by having a call center available 24/7 to answer any question related to a travel request or travel change to their customer. They have also flexible payment plans. So flexible payment plans. Sorry for the Teams messages. So flexible payment plans to adapt to the needs of their customer, using small payment options and giving payment facilities which will create loyalty to their customer, having personalized offer by offering dynamic packages to the travels, application notification, and post-travel follow-up. So even after selling the service or the ticket, they do a follow-up with their customer to assess the experience and collect their feedback to adjust the experience for future travels. So the post-sales part is very important to show your client that it's not a one sales approach that you're using, but it's a long-term relationship. Now I will give you some time to reflect about your own basically channels. How are you delivering your product or service to your customer, and how are you building and maintaining relationship with them? So how are you making your product available to them? What are the channels, and how are you engaging with them or to maintain good relationships with your customers? So I want you also to reflect a bit on your own businesses and type your answers in the chat box. And for all the persons typing their answers in the chat, I want you please to save this answer to add it to the workbook based on the feedback that we're trying to share with you and based on your own revised reflections. I have a message that the slides are moving too fast. Okay, I will try to slow down, but it's just because I'm conscious of the time, because it's 9 sections that we need to cover. So please jump in, and if you have any question while I'm presenting, just jump in and tell me to. I'm ready to answer any question you may have. So anyone wanting to type your channels, okay. So here we have an example for customer relationships, basically using a partnership-based approach, collaborate with manufacturer and food industry for long-term contracts, offer on-site demo, training on-site experiencers for the customers, and community engagement, install sorting bins and partner with the municipality for collection. Okay, and here on the level of the community engagement, the bins that you install, also it's good to see how are you branding those bins. It's anything that you do to or use to interact with your customer, always reflect on how am I branding it, how am I putting my information, promotional information or visual information on it. Another example is word of mouth referrals, direct networkings and professional events, exhibition, LinkedIn and Facebook. Maybe adding the type of event that you are part of would be interesting. Personalized and client-focused service, regular communication and update, flexible tools to organize together the event, even the customer is online, okay. Stores, marketplace, calls, free training. So I'm happy to see like that this is clearly being thought of, the channels you are using and the way you engage with your customers. One feedback that I want to share is that the more personalized you go, and the better they will remember you and engage with you. So try to be as much personalized as possible and try to select your channels or your events according to the preferences of your customers. So ask yourself, where would they always be? Okay, and try to follow their lifestyle and be present where they are. So, and of course, always the business to consumer approach is different than the business to business approach, like working with organizations or direct businesses require a professional or formal sales approach, more of meetings, corporate events, corporate communication, while targeting the direct user, it requires more engagement, more interaction on social media, and a more personalized also experience. So let's continue with the slides. but I'm happy to see that you already have a clear idea about your the way you engage with your customers and the channels that you may use to find them. Any question before anyone has any question? If you have any question, please type it in the chat or feel free to share it. Anyone has any questions so far? So I will do a quick recap just to summarize basically what we saw. So we looked at the right side of the Canva, business model Canva, which covers the market side of my business, okay? By starting to reflecting about the who is my customer, what am I offering, my value proposition, and why is it unique? How am I delivering my product or service to my customer, which is the channel? And how am I maintaining my relationship with them, which is leveraging on the different ways to engage with them, be it direct communication or indirect, offline or online. Okay, now we will continue. If you have any question while I'm talking, please don't hesitate to share by chat or by just ask your question. So I will continue. Now we go back to the right side, the left side, sorry, of the business model Canva, okay? So we are clear on the product, the service, the way that we want to deliver to our customer. Now we need to ask ourselves, what does it take, okay, to build my product or service, to market it, to offer it, to distribute it? So what are the key activities that I need to do as an organization, as a business, to be able to produce the product, deliver it, and capture the value from the market? So here I invite you to reflect about the key activities, describing the most important things a company is doing to make the business model succeed, operate successfully, and sustain operations. What are the key activities that our value proposition require, okay, to be able to operate successfully in the market? Is it production? Is it marketing, distribution, customer relationship, management? So how am I managing my team and HR? How am I distributing my product? How am I maintaining relationship with my customer? What are the marketing activities I need to do? The production, the production part or the delivery part of my business. Then we move into key resources. So based on the key activities, okay, we ask ourselves, okay, what are the resources that I need to be able to do the marketing, to be able to do the production, to be able to run the distribution, to be able to manage my team. And usually resources can be tangible and intangible. So it can be the assets I need, it can be the human resources that I need, it can be the equipment. Here, based on the key activities, every activity that I specify for my company, I need to ask myself, what are the resources that I need to make my activity work properly? Okay, so to give you an example, the key resources can be human resources, like the personnel that you need. Here you have to reflect about the core expertise that you need in your business. Is it engineers? Is it businessmen? Is it financial experts? So what is the team that I need? Okay, what are the human skills that I need to run my business successfully? The financial resources, how much capital do I need? How much budget do I need to allocate for my activities in order for them to run successfully? The intellectual resources, am I inventing something new? Am I needing any IP-based material? Am I basically creating a brand and creating an intellectual property around my brand? So am I doing research activities to improve my product or service? So what is the intellectual resource that I need to reflect on my business and provide the right resource, allocate the right resources for my activities. The equipment. So, and here I invite you to reflect on an important point, which is leveraging on existing resources. If you have certain resources, a land that you have, a network that you know, so try to see, what do I have in my circle of network? What do I have? What kind of resources do I have, and how can I leverage on those resources? And always try to optimize the use of your resources, because this will help optimize your budget eventually. And here I invite you to build a very strong team. So really, the team is core, is very important, and a very part of important part of the business. Now we dive into the key partners, which is also on the left side of the Canva. Here we ask ourselves, okay, who do I need to collaborate with in order to produce my product and in order to ensure successful business operation, whether distribution, whether suppliers, whether marketing. So what kind of partners do I need, okay, to build a strong partnership with, and who might help me in my business? And this is a very important section to reflect on, because key partners are very important to help grow a business, and leveraging on those networks will help promote your business, will drive business opportunities to you, will help you access resources. So we need to answer ourselves, who are the partners that I need, okay, to build a strong collaboration with, whether to buy equipment from or raw material from, to collaborate for marketing campaigns, for sales strategies. Who do I need? Okay, and this can be from different type of stakeholders. So they can be, for example, municipalities, from the public sectors, that can be industries, corporates, they can be from the media, influencer sector, they can be organizations, NGOs, like I saw a lot of you mentioned this, international companies, independent experts, suppliers, funding institutions and donors, in case I build programs that are funded by donors, academia, research centers, and so on. To give you an example, a concrete example, a brand that I really like, which is IKEA. So they provide furniture, home accessories, design ideas, and inspiration for big, for budget conscious also clients. So IKEA's success lies in its cost-efficient design, scale, and deep integration of supply chain and innovation. So basically, IKEA work a lot on providing cost-efficient decoration items, home accessories, furnitures that also have a component, eco-friendly component, so minimum impact on the environment, low cost, and very creative and space-saving designs. So it's a very successful model. If you want to look, reflecting on their business model, Canva, if we want to look at their key activities, we can see how they define it. Basically, the key activities that IKEA has is designing affordable furnitures, managing a global supply chain of suppliers, because they have a global market and they have suppliers around the world. Operation of their retail stores. So they have large retail stores around the world as well. E-commerce platforms, producing in-house furniture products, customer service and customer systems. So all the pickup, the assembly guides, the showrooms they have to manage, and sustainability efforts in sourcing and materials. So the procurement part of IKEA is essential to their business model, because they make sure to work on sustainable procurement and really source material that are eco-friendly. the key resources that they need. So based on their activities, we go back to the key resources that they need, okay, by asking themselves, what do I need to do this activity? They need basically a global distribution and retail network, a strong brand identity and customer base, furniture designs and product innovation, efficient logistics and warehousing systems, because they have large stores where they store large amount of products and raw material. They also need in-house designer, engineers, and supply chain experts on the level of their team, and digital tools because they have a lot of e-commerce delivery channels. Who are the main key partners of IKEA that are crucial for their business to grow and succeed? Manufacturing partners around the world, raw material suppliers like wood, textile, and metal, logistic and transport companies, franchise partners in different countries, and environmental organizations for sustainability collaboration, because they do a lot of eco-friendly campaigns around their furniture. So any questions? Any questions so far? I know it's too much information, but we have 9 sections to cover for the business model Canva, and we still have a bit of time to finish. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to type it or to let me know. Okay, so I will go on. We still have 2 sections, which are the viability side of the business model. So when we look at the organization side, the left side of the business model, we have covered the activities needed to operate, the resources needed, and the key partners needed. Now we need to put a budget next to it. So when you list them properly, what kind of activities am I doing? And for each activity, what kind of resources I need to allocate? You have to be able to dive into the cost structure to understand the basic structure of your cost needed to run your business, and to try to put a cost next to each item. And this section, I will not dive into it because you are going to see it with Agnes, our colleague, next in the future sessions. So here it's how much will it cost to be able to run or execute those activities and to buy the resources or to bring the resources that I need. So I have the salaries, the operation, the productions. And on the right side, I have to think about my revenue, like we said. So how am I generating money, which is the essence of the business model. So looking at my customers, looking at the relationships I have with them, and looking at what they are going to buy and how much they are willing to pay for it, I need to be able to say, how will I generate revenue, and to be able to project also my profit based on the revenue. So if we dive about the revenue in the revenue sections, and we basically reflect on how am I making revenue, these are some basically examples, okay, on how can you think of generating revenue. And every company can have one or more than one source of revenue. Can be by direct sales of products, service to the customer through online or offline channels. It can be subscription models, which usually are through web applications or web services or mobile application. It can be a licensing model, a franchising model. For example, it works a lot in when we have international restaurants wanting to open in a new market. I can use a franchising model to grow my business. Data monetization. So here it's important to say that now during our business times, if you want, data is key and data is very important. So if you are operating a business that is generating data, this is very valuable, and this can be capitalized on to sell later on. Like, for example, all the platforms that use that generate advertising services to make money, okay, they use all the data to sell it to the brands that they are promoting, and this has a revenue stream. The platform that use the advertising model to sell, such as Facebook, Instagram, the famous social media platform that really leverage the advertising and targeted advertisement to generate income. The freemium model, and usually this refers to platforms that invite subscribers to join for free, but when they have a big community, they start upgrading and suggesting premium features, subscriptions later on, or using this community, the data of this community, to generate ads and make money out of it. Transaction model, donation model, rental model. So you have different ways of generating revenue. I will not dive deeper into this. I believe you are going to also reflect on it further in the upcoming sessions, but it's just to ask yourself, how am I making money? And I want you to also relate here to the purchasing power of your customer. So how much my customer is willing to pay. Okay, this is one. Number two, you have to look a bit also to the competition. So competitors that you have in the market, and to see how are you positioning your prices versus the competitor. Would I want to be more affordable and sell more, or would I want to really position myself as niche market and increase a bit my value and my profit margin? So I want you to take a few seconds to type in basically how are you generating revenue within your current businesses that you are operating. So take some time to think about how are you generating revenue in your current businesses. You can have one or more ways to generate revenue. So revenue stream, some examples: feed sales, $800 per ton, compost sales, subscription fees, training packages, so you offer training in part of their subscription, licensing fees per startup, grants and investment, okay. Project billing, so, and maybe it would be good to say what kind of project you are billing: subscription payment, consultation, sales of products, fees from complete event planning and execution, commission on supplier services. Maybe for the event planning business, maybe also you can create different event packages, like business events, occasions. So it's good to package your events prices. Sales of organic fertilizers. Is it direct sales? Is it online sales? It's also interesting to add in this case, because every channel of revenue is managed differently, in its different way. Cooling as a service, generating revenue from sales, digital skills, training packages, transaction model, subscription model, direct sales, commission. Retails, wholesale, collaboration with companies and organizations. So I really like the fact that you have thought about how are you generating revenue from the one hand, and the other hand is that on the other hand that you have multiple revenue streams. What I want to encourage you to do is to think from now, okay, in any business that you are running, to be able to ask yourself, how will I scale my business? What are the ideas that I can leverage on, or activities that I can leverage on now to create future revenue streams in my business? And I go back to the data examples or the freemium model. So if you are managing businesses that are giving you access to a community database, that are helping you generate data that is valuable for businesses, keep it and manage it properly, because at a certain time this might be a revenue stream for your business, a new revenue stream for your business. Also think of what can you automate as a business and digitize and maybe promote later on to create, like the training industry. If you do training, think of from now, how can I digitize my trainings? How can I create online sessions, memberships? So how can you use the same product or service but leverage different channels to have more additional revenue stream? So it's just I'm inviting you to reflect about your current revenue streams, but thinking of how can you really scale in the future, and what are the things that you can leverage on, that you are doing right now, you can leverage on later on to monetize as well. So there you go. So we have now covered the 9 blocks of the business model Canva, okay, which described how did I create, what am I offering, to whom I am offering my product or service, how I am delivering it to the market, how am I generating revenue, what does it take to produce, and what are the activities needed to deliver my product or service, and what is who are the partners I need, and my cost structure related to my business. So if we go back to the business model Canva, we started by talking about the first block, which is the customer segment, then reflecting back on the what, the value proposition, asking ourselves, how are we delivering, what are the channels needed to deliver my product to the customer, what kind of relationships, or how am I engaging and maintaining relationship with my customer, how am I generating revenue. On the left side, what are the activities needed, the key resources needed, who are the partners and suppliers that I need to build a strong business and grow it, and my cost structure reflecting on the above sections. So to give you an example of a consolidated business model Canva, okay, I chose 2 quick examples, which are Facebook. I think pretty much everyone is familiar with Facebook. So if you look at their 9 blocks in their business model Canva, you can understand how the business is working, is operating, what is the core offering, who are the customer segments, and what does it take to deliver the product or the service. So the value proposition is connect with your friends, discover, learn, express yourself. The unique features are basically the engagement, the personalized experience, the digital payment features for any services that you like to add to, especially your business. The customer segments, internet users, advertisers and marketeers, and developers, because they are the one developing the features. So it's an open model where developers contribute to the platform. Relationships, it's basically built on the network building and online engagement, the channels through the website, the mobile application, the advertisement, the pages, and the different tools that are developed. Revenue streams is mainly from the advertisement. It's a freemium model, and they leverage their community to generate advertising revenue. And through the online subscriptions also payment. The key activities is mainly the development of the platform, the data centers, operations management, and marketing, of course. Key resources, it's the platform, it's the team, and it's the technology infrastructure. The key partners that they need are content partners and businesses. Cost structure is mainly based on the technology they are managing, the marketing and the sales effort, the research and the development on the level of their platform and technology. Another example is Airbnb, because we covered it at the beginning, so it's good to see the whole business model of it. Again, we've already touched upon the customer segment, who are the host and the people wanting to, from the one, rent a lodging that is cost efficient. From the other hand, people having space that they want to rent out. The value proposition is based on providing low-cost lodging that is based on a trusted network of people that is low cost, that is available anywhere in the world through the platform. The relationship is mainly through customer service, social media, the promotions they do, and it's promoted through the website and delivered as the matchmaking website and the mobile application. And the revenue is mainly from the commissions from the host from the one hand and from the guests from the other hand. The cost is related mainly to technology, the marketing, the team. The key partners are the hosts, the guests, and the payment gateway. And the key activities is the management of this platform, the marketing, building the community of hosts and consumer. And the key resources needed are the local host, the employees, and the technology, which is the biggest asset of this business. Any question before we cover like last 3 questions that I have for you? So now it's gonna be based on what we talked about, what we covered in this session. So I will ask 3 questions, and I want you to type the right answers in the chat box, okay? So question number 1, which section of the business model Canva answers the question, what problem are you solving and what makes your solution unique? So you can type A, B, C, or D. Is it customer segments? Is it channels? Is it value proposition? Is it revenue stream? So I have already answers. Anyone wants to add their answer before I give you the right one? Yeah, so it's mainly C. It's the value proposition. Because the value proposition explains what is my solution and why is it unique? What is its unique added value to my customers? My second question for you is, which section of the business model Canva focuses on how your customers find out about you and how you deliver your product or service? So how do they know about you and how are you delivering your product or service? Is it A, channels? Is it B, key activities? C, customer relationship? Or the cost structure? Okay, so I have mix of A and B. So it's mainly A, it's the channels, okay? Because the channels are going to show me how am I delivering my product and service to my customer and how do they know about me? The final questions, Which block outlines the different ways a company earns income from its value proposition? Is it A, cost structure, B, revenue streams, C, key partnerships, and D, customer segments? So which block of the business model Canva shows me how my business is going to earn income from the value proposition? So indeed, it's the revenue streams. It's B. So thank you for your answers, and I will leave you now to think about your own business model Canva. We'll be sharing with you the presentation following the session, and it's your time now to turn your story into a compelling business proposition, describing the what, the who, the how, and answering the main important question: how is your business work, operate, and generate revenue to be able to succeed, grow, and sustain your operations. So this is it from my side, but I want to leave some space for any question, and Danielle, also back to you. So please, if you want to share any, we still have a few minutes left. So if anyone wants to share your own business model insights or questions or examples, to take some feedback, I wanted to make sure we have some space for questions and feedback. And going back to the what's next, just to make sure to highlight again that all the questions that you answered during this session, we couldn't go over all the sections because of the time constraints, but all of the questions will feed into your workbook to be able to design and fill in your own business model Canva, which will be on this template, one sheet, covering all the elements we discussed today.
Great. Thank you, Christelle. Lots of thank yous coming in the chat also.
Yes, and available to answer any question, Danielle, they may have after the session or feedback in collaboration with you.
Perfect. Ladies, this is such a powerful tool, and literally every single startup incubation acceleration program has leaned on this over the years. One thing I definitely recommend as you're going through it is, even if you can, like, make a big copy of it. The one that we have in the workbook is just A4 size, but if you can, make a big copy of it and print it out and put it up on a wall and start to use Post-it notes and, put something down and then see how it plays out, because some of you will have more than one customer segment, for example, or you might be thinking about more than one customer. So you can put one customer, fill it in for one customer segment, and then go back and do it again, and continuously change different pieces of your business model as you learn more about your market and as you learn more about your customers. So great. So what comes next? So as Christelle mentioned, you will still have homework. So I encourage you all to go into the relevant sections of the workbook for today's training. So it will be section 3 on the business model. And just like the previous 2 weeks, once you finish the relevant sections, please complete the homework form, which I'll again put into the WhatsApp chat, and send that over by 12 p.m. on Monday, East Africa time. I will then do the random generator again and pull out 2 names and provide feedback to you ladies in next week's session. And that will be the case for every training session going forward. But please, please, please make sure that you include the link to your workbook within the form. There's a section for that, because if you don't do that, even if you've shared it, I can't find it because it's somewhere on someone's drive or hiding somewhere. So please share that link. Yeah, Maureen has also said she has a lot of customer segments, but has decided to focus on the oil and gas sector. That's great. Fill it in for that sector to start with. And then if you find in the process of filling it in, or even in the course of doing business, that isn't the right sector for you to focus on, then you can always go back and fill it in again later. The next session next week is going to be with me. So it's going to be our second coaching session, and it's going to be about overcoming individual barriers. So I will share a second form with you where I invite you to share things that you're going through at the moment, like what questions you might have, what challenges you're facing in your business. And each of you who fill in the form will get dedicated, it's one-to-one time, but one-to-one time in our group, where I'll be answering your questions and giving you feedback on a challenge that you're experiencing at the moment. So make sure that you're also filling in that form by 12 p.m. next Monday, East Africa time. I will share that with you in the WhatsApp group, and it won't be a long thing. It will just be your name and the questions that you have, and then come online next week to get that individualized, personalized attention and feedback. So I know some of you also put in the chat, like, will you be getting feedback on what you've done so far in your workbook? If you're not selected, this could be an opportunity for you to ask those questions. Like if there's a certain thing that you want us to look at, or something you want to dig into deeper, then next week is the opportunity to do that. All right, so I am going to patiently waiting for next week. Yeah, useful links. All of the slides and recordings are in the Google folder. If you're not in the WhatsApp group already, please join us, because we do chat in there, and I also send reminders in there. I think all of you ladies are there by now, but just in case, there's that that QR code that you can scan. And if there's no further questions or comments in the chat, then we will see you all again next week. Yes, you're welcome. Bye, Claudiana. You're welcome, Fanja. You're welcome, Maureen. Bye-bye. You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, ladies, take care. See you next week.
Bye. I'm closing the session then. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.